Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1987's Jaws, The Revenge. So before we get into it, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you can follow me at Junior D's. You can follow Corey at Corey_idol. And as always, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, you can follow us at Kiss the Reviews. Let's get into the cast of Jaws the Revenge or Jaws 4 or whatever you want to call this movie. And then we'll get into some of my personal observations before we actually dive into this. But This film stars Lorraine Gary as Ellen Brody, Lance Guest as Michael Brody, Mario Van Peebles as Jake, Karen Young as Carla Brody, Lynn Whitfield as Louisa, and Michael Caine as Hoagie. The one thing that annoys me, and because I still like this film to this day, and even watching it this time around, I'm like, this is still a good movie. The plot of great white sharks have feelings and things, and that follows the Brody, like, that's the best you can come up with for the fourth movie in this franchise. With everything else being really good, that's the fucking plot of this movie.
Yeah, let me tell you exactly where they screwed up here. Because
when they started writing it,
I have a totally different vision for this movie, okay? And where this would have been a fucking home run. So the title of the movie is Jaws the Revenge, right?
Yep.
Implying that Jaws is taking his revenge. So, why are we worried about these humans? We show Jaws, like, with his shark family, and he can't fucking let this go. Like, they murdered my fucking mother, and his wife is like, oh, Scotty, you've got to let this go. You can't concentrate on your life. You got a wee son coming. I need you around. And he's like, I gotta do this. Like, I just gotta do this. And his wife is like, just come back a whole man, because we need you. And so he fucking sets out on this journey, right? To fucking annihilate this family that took everything from him and left him to grow up without a mother or a father.
Not a chance.
He meets characters along the way, right? It's kind of like a Finding Nemo thing, but it's Jaws.
I think they wrote this already. It's called Shark Tale.
It's fucking brilliant. I should watch it.
I'm not asking you anymore. I'm telling you.
But instead, they ruin it, like you said, by having Ellen Brady turn into Miss Cleo, literally goes to the Bahamas and is like, oh, I can see the shark now.
Call me now for your free tarot reading.
Call me now for shark information. It's just, it turns ridiculous. Shark attack warnings, $5.99 a minute.
2 hours later.
Call me now for your free shark tooth necklace.
The cards can reveal things that you will never see by yourself.
Let's jump into this, because the Brody family just getting fucked up by sharks. Like, everybody getting fucked up. Everybody getting attacked. People losing arms and legs and all kinds of shit. The movie opens before Christmas in Amity, Long Island, where Ellen Brody still lives. She lives there with her son, Sean, who's now a police deputy. His father, the old police chief, died several years ago from a heart attack. So there's one night Sean is called to clear some driftwood out of the harbor and is attacked by a great white shark. Apparently, the deputy has to take care of this because the Coast Guard is busy and Lenny is patrolling for cow-tipping kids?
Yeah, dude, first of all, this shark, this is what I'm saying the plot should have been, because this shark isn't fucking around. He distracted an entire branch of the United States military. Sit on that one for a second and think about it.
He's beautiful. He does what he's supposed to do.
Ellen's oldest son, Michael, then comes to Amity with his family from the Bahamas, where he's a marine biologist. And Ellen begs him to change careers because she doesn't want anyone in their family to have anything to do with the ocean or fish. She doesn't want them to own a pool. Like, She doesn't want them to take baths. Like anything that has to do with like submerging yourself in water, she's against it all. In this scene, he's hugging his mom, and she says,
It waited all this time and it came for him.
referring to the shark attacking Sean. Now, if I'm not mistaken, okay, which shark is she referring to? Because in these movies, the shark blows up in the most fabulous of ways at the end of these movies. It's the scuba tank in the mouth. It's the electrocution of the thing. Like, so this is, in my head, I'm like, well, this is a new shark. But it still has, so all great white sharks have an issue with the Brodies? Like, is it,
man?
Is it like the mafia?
A family member. It was a son.
Your brother Frankie here, he's a killer.
Like
Cool.
they murdered. I think Jaws 3 was an unrelated shark. There's just like that guy just wandered off the beaten path and attacked SeaWorld. He's like big into like fish rights and shit. So he's like, let them go, let the orcas go. And he started eating all the trainers and shit. And the orcas found out and were like, holy shit, we can eat trainers. And then they started doing it too. And then SeaWorld shut down. But anyway,
the shark saw Blackfish and was
That's
like,
right.
yeah, fuck that.
That's exactly right. But this Brody central shark who's chilling in New England, yeah, dude, that was like his mom, his dad, and now he's like, fuck it. I'm just being a shark, bro. You splash in water, I'm going to eat something. These guys set out to fucking hunt us down and attack us. Like they're committing genocide. They're wiping out my family lineage. I got a kid on the way because my wife Margaret's pregnant. I got to go out and take care of this shit. That's his whole motivation for this. I don't know how you didn't see it. I mean, for God's sakes, it's right there.
I guess. Listen, I'm not one, okay, maybe I am one to point out plot holes, but this is the most fucking glaring goddamn plot hole ever.
That's why at the end, if you were proficient in shark, instead of just looking at pretty pictures of the Bahamas, you know at the end when the shark growls, he's yelling, Margaret! Because he knows he's never going to see his wife again.
Yeah, it just sounded like Godzilla to me. That's what it sounded like. I don't speak shark.
Goddamn.
So after the funeral, Michael convinces Ellen to come back with his family to the Bahamas for Christmas.
A woman who wants nothing to do with the water is forced to go to an island.
Well, that's another...
Way to be sensitive, Michael.
That's another huge plot hole because they get to the Bahamas. Well, I shouldn't say that. They, on this plane to the Bahamas, Ellen meets Hoagie, their pilot, who's got this gambling problem. And she's like, dope. He seems like a good prospect to, start a relationship with. So he's got a gambling problem. Great. Let me date this fucking dude.
It's been my experience and 3 ex-wives worth of gambling problems to know that when you drop a significant amount of cash in front of a woman, boy, they don't get wet at all. They don't like it.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
So not only does she want Michael to I'm assuming he has all of these student loans to pay for. He's working on his doctorate. And she's just like, nope, that career's over. I don't want you in the water. Mm-hmm. But yet she's swimming all over the place in this thing. For a woman who has this big of a fear of sharks and sharks attacking the Brody family or whatever, she's really quick to get in the water, get near the water, put her feet in the water. Like, if you're afraid of that shit, you ain't going anywhere. You're definitely not flying to a fucking a tiny little island in the middle of the fucking ocean. Michael shows Ellen around. He shows off some of his wife's ugly metal art because she's a blowtorch metal artist kind of person. We then see Michael and his marine biologist partner, Jake, go out into the ocean, tagging conch shells for their research. And then Jake yells at Michael for leaving because of his dead brother. This is my favorite fucking scene. And I got a quick don't do that for you.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, coworkers. and just people in general, I guess. You have a colleague, a coworker, or whatever, whose brother got brutally murdered by a shark, who obviously has an axe to grind with that family, okay? He's gone for a combined total of, 3 days? Like, he flies up there for the funeral, to talk his mom into coming down, and then, like, the third day, they're back. Because it's right before Christmas, and they actually celebrate Christmas in the Bahamas. Yep. So, he's gone for, 2-3 days max for this, right? He gets back. Don't do what Jake does here, and don't bust your coworker's balls for missing 3 days of inconsequential research on conch shells. What you're doing is bullshit. Don't bust that dude's balls.
We gotta tag the sea slugs, man. They moved half an inch in 3 days. They're
Why do you gotta tag?
Same spot. I landed the plane where the boat was parked when I left. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Why are you putting radio transmitters on these conch shells when literally you could just go to, they could just get, I don't know, like tie a ribbon on them. You don't have to put a radio transmitter. You just be like, oh, that one had the pink ribbon. It moved 6 inches in a month.
Yeah, those fucking birds with little anklets on them, they weren't like busting away from a chain gang. Those are trackers. And they're not like electronic trackers. They just have numbers on them.
You were right.
This is strike one in Jake and Michael's friendship, as far as I would be concerned. If I'm on the other side of this, where my brother just died, and you're like, man, now I got to do more work because your brother went swimming, dumbass. Like, okay, like that's one, because I need this fucking job. But then, like, immediately when they find the shark after Jaws attacks Michael, he's like, no, we're tracking the shark. Sharks are amazing and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, again, my brother just died from a shark attack. This much fucking sensitivity, you greedy prick. How about that? And then strike three, Michael does the one thing. He's like, yo, all right, I'm going to fucking do this.
I knew this was going to bother you.
I'm going to do this. Just don't tell my mother we're doing this.
Do me a favor, will you? Don't say anything about this to my mom.
Which is fucking ridiculous anyway, you're a grown-ass man. But you're like, don't tell my mom, it's going to freak her out, because we're literally hunting the same great white she thinks is coming to kill us. So just be cool about this, dude. Okay, you got it, man. Fucking 20 seconds later, they're all at dinner, and he's like, guess what we're going to do? Fucking sharks, bro. I'm fucking swimming in fucking blood and shit because I'm fucking hunting sharks now. Isn't that cool? Remember how your fucking son died from a shark attack? That's going to be me. I'm going to do that too.
While they're tagging conch shells, the shark that killed Sean is, now followed the family from Amity to the Bahamas. And while on the beach, Ellen senses its presence. Ellen, Brody, Dionne Warwick, whoever, insert, whoever you want to here. She's just like, felt a weird chill up my spine. That goddamn shark is coming down to the Bahamas. And fucking killed Sean. Now it's going to kill Michael. It's going to kill his daughter. It's attacking fucking my whole family, and I ain't having any of it. One day, while doing their research, Michael and Jake's boat gets attacked by this vengeful shark. And Michael tells Jake here, this is where he tells Jake, don't say anything to my mom about the shark. Jake convinces Michael to track the shark with their tagging equipment that Jake built. And they finally put this tag on the shark, but they can't find it as the shark swims away. So they just assume it left the area due to the warm water.
Do you remember this from the video game?
Vaguely.
I can't remember if it was regular Nintendo or Super NES that had this game. But, like, you would literally have that heartbeat tracker.
Yeah.
To tell you which way Jaws was coming. And it was almost like Space Invaders. Like, you just went back and forth, like swimming in diagonal lines or something.
I believe it was the NES. It was the original NES, I think. But,
fucking dope game, though. I loved that game.
So Michael then goes back down to study conch shells again. And The shark appears out of nowhere, attacks Michael in his little underwater vehicle. Michael escapes into this like sunken ship that's down there conveniently, and he barely escapes, but is adamant about going down to look for the shark the next day.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, husbands. Uncle Corey here. If your wife is being honored at a massive thing that the whole fucking island, the bougie fucking, not the tourists, the islanders.
Yes.
Which,
the
by
locals.
the way, you are being accepted with incredibly white skin on this very black island. And you are doing nothing to show up and support your wife or be accepted by the islanders. You're like, no, dude, I'm afraid. So you know what I gotta do? Go in the ocean by myself and get eaten by a fucking shark.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you go in the ocean by yourself when a fucking shark is hunting you.
Yes.
What are you doing? And then, as his boy, fucking Mario Van Peebles is like, dude, I can't let you get in there. No, you don't understand. I'm afraid. Word. I'll see you later then. I'm gonna go. I gotta go be with my wife because she's not gonna play that shit.
I have a few issues with this whole thing. One is, the whole I got to get over my fears, so I got to get back in the water and hop on that horse again, or whatever the hell his reasoning is for getting back in the water. Fine, but also after this, because you get the attack at which, by the way, is one of my favorite Jaws attacks, the banana boat, the slow motion.
Yes, it's great.
And, the shark comes up and eats the chick that is right behind Michael's daughter. They see the shark. They all run towards the water, yada, yada. And then you get the flat banana getting pulled by the boat and the blood is just like oozing off of it into the water. That whole scene was awesome. But you get this shark attack, right? And then they're back home with the daughter, and I believe it's Jake's wife that's back at the house. And Michael comes in, and this is where he says, like, oh, we thought it went away. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I get not telling the mom because, Ellen is she's a bit much. Okay, so I get that. But you're not going to tell your wife and your kid, who your kid is swinging on the rope out into the open water, and she's doing all this shit. She's playing on the beach. She's getting into. Tell your wife and just be like, hey, saw a shark, think it's a great white. It's been around here. Like, why don't you keep our daughter out the fucking water? So then, even if you don't make it to this dedication for her artwork or whatever, when her daughter goes, hey, can I get on the banana boat? She's going to like, no, get the fuck over here.
Yeah.
Done and done. So the wife and both wives are justifiably pissed that neither of their husbands said anything to them. And it's never brought up again.
Well, no, because Michael comes in and he's like, oh, oh my God, all this happened. And they're like, you fucking knew? And Louisa says, where's Jake? Because now she's super fucking concerned that her husband is also missing.
Yeah.
And he just goes, I gotta go. And then fucking runs down the beach like he's Rocky Balboa. What the fuck is going on, bro?
Yeah,
like,
he's got a
communication may help out just a little bit. You might think you're going through some shit, but you're not. You're not.
You were right.
Let's acknowledge something here. He says at the beginning of this movie, there are no great whites in the Bahamas because of the warm water, and they like cooler temperature water, so they're not in the Bahamas. But you know what are in the Bahamas? A fuckload of other species of sharks. Just because it's a great white doesn't mean they're going to do any, they will do more damage. You're probably dead. But there's tiger sharks down in the Bahamas. There's all kinds of other species of sharks that are swimming all around that will bite your ass.
Yes.
But whatever. There's nary a shark to be seen outside of this great white in this Bahamas universe. So.
Yeah, no. He called his cousins off. He had like a cousin who's a mako shark. He's got an uncle that's a tiger shark. And he's like, I got to do this myself, boys. I need you to stay home.
He was clearing out the lane like Michael Jordan. He was like, I'm taking this fool one-on-one. You guys just clear out. Let me get my shit together. I'm gonna take out this fool. That's
right.
What's So after this, Michael gets home. He finds out about, obviously, his daughter getting attacked. And he also finds out that his mother ganked Jake's boat and went after the shark. So Michael, Jake, and Hoagie then go after Ellen in Hoagie's plane. And then Hoagie here tells them about Ellen's visions of the shark coming after the family and yada, yada. Now, I have a couple of quick, like, I get it. You want to go find your mom, right? What are you doing outside of what they do here, which is crash landing the plane in the fucking ocean? How are you getting on said boat? Like, the only thing you can do is buzz by the boat like, hey, mom, turn the shit around. I don't know what their end game is here. Like,
they're calling the Coast Guard because he even says, like, we'll call for help. And then their plan is just to circle until the Coast Guard gets there. And the only reason they actually crash landed the plane is because they saw Jaws attack the boat. Okay.
Thank you for clearing that up. I might have just been a little glazed over at this point.
I don't know why.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi. Single people out there. Uncle Corey here.
All the single ladies?
Yes. Hi, single ladies. Single ladies. Uncle Corey here. I would strongly suggest, even if you are having premonitions of any kind, don't tell potential suitors that. Wait at least until date 2 or 3. I'm old school. I wait until day 2 or 3 until I start dropping like psychic shit or like, for some reason, I'm psychically linked to a shark. We'll see where it goes.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to ease into that kind of shit. Don't just be like, oh, we've been having such a lovely time and we just stopped at this fucking bar in the middle of the day to grab some Bahama Mamas. By the way, I see what sharks see.
Well,
no big deal.
So I'm going to disagree with you here because, listen, at the end of the day, she immediately is like, you got a gambling problem? Let's date. Because that's a thing. So you got a gambling problem. She's a psychic. Like, I think it's a match made in heaven because he's going to be like, hey, we're going to go play some craps. I need you to do your no. I need some of that juju to help me gamble. Like, I think it's just a perfect match. That's how I see it.
She also has body issues too, because she keeps going like, why would he want someone like me? Or like, why would you want to kiss someone like me? It's like, dude, it's happening. Let it go. Who cares if this guy looked like he still did Zulu? Like, you know why he wants you? Because you're the only one that stuck around to listen to all of his fucking stories.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, dude, even at Louisa's birthday, he's like, and did I tell you about the one? It's like, yeah, motherfucker. It's not even your day. Can somebody else have? It's her birthday. And you're telling stories about some fucking dude you knew in primary school. Get the fuck out of here.
Hoagie's the type of guy where 6 months into the relationship, you're like, I've heard every fucking story because you won't shut the fuck up.
Yes, you have literally talked for 6 months straight.
After they buzz the boat, just in time as Jaws is leaping out of the water, Hoagie crash lands the plane in the ocean. Michael and Jake make it to the boat, but the shark attacks the plane into the water. It looks like it's curtains for Hoagie, but he escapes magically and makes it to the boat as well. And Jake and Michael then realize that they can use the radio tag and this big flashlight to shock the shark with electrical impulses or whatever. So Jake goes out to the edge of the boat to feed the shark the flashlight, but the shark jumps out of the water, grabs Jake, pulls him down into the water. You think Jake is dead.
Jake literally falls into his mouth.
Yes. This is how you know, and this is the problem I mentioned earlier about this shark and why I don't like the character. Because this shark is obviously racist. He had him in the mouth and he was like, I don't like black people, puh, and spit him out just to go after the white people.
If we're being perfectly honest, I don't eat dark meat at Thanksgiving either. I've just never cared for it.
If I'm Jake, I'm pissed. I'm like, what? I'm not good enough? You can't eat this?
Look, sometimes it's a personal preference. Sometimes you like, that fucking thigh, and sometimes you like the breast. It's just
fair.
Just the way it goes. It doesn't make you racist because you don't like the taste of dark meat. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I'm just a fat kid. I'll eat anything. I don't care. Michael then uses Jake's device to shock the shit out of the shark, forcing it to make Godzilla noises, or in your case, scream for his wife. And
Maggie!
And he leaps from the water. Ellen then rams the shark, impaling it as she fantasizes about the shark attacking her husband and Sean. And we get those cutaway scenes, even though these are her memories and she was never there for any of it.
No. And this is a much better plan than her initial plan of taking the boat out and calling the fucking shark's manager. Because up until this point, I'm like, you are just trying to white woman the shit out of this situation, and you are so underprepared.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? But yeah, like, somehow magically it's like ramming speed, and she's able to puncture the shark has been eating metal and wood and all this shit, and then she's like, I'm gonna puncture your skin. Here's a splinter.
Well, so I got a couple of questions.
She decapitates it.
Does the shark explode? Like, is it filled with helium? Because that scene, it makes it look like the shark was a balloon. Because it rams it and the shark just fucking disintegrates. It explodes. And then the boat rips in half. Like, okay,
Chinese
this is the one
spy balloon, bro.
This is the one issue that I...
Wait, you gonna try and fucking put an underwater balloon at me now, China? Ain't having it. Ain't never gonna be about it, sir.
This is the one issue that I have with all the Jawses. Can nobody own a fucking reliable boat? Not a single one of you motherfuckers own a reliable boat or equipment. Everything's on the fritz. Everything just... This boat hits the shark, impales it, and rips completely in half, and it's the fucking Titanic.
If they quit taking an arm and a leg of my taxes to blow up underwater shark Chinese balloons, maybe I could afford a better boat, Armando. But as it stands, I'm a poor.
So after the shark blows up, it gets impaled, the boat's underwater, and they're just like floating on little like bits of scrap wood. Jake then resurfaces. He's alive with only minor bite wounds, and apparently the shark let him go when he realized he wasn't a member of the Brody family, like he did a 23andMe on fucking Jake. Get the fuck out of here. So
this doesn't taste like Brody.
This is so much different than Brody meat. Yeah, I'm not having any of it.
Not at all.
So the movie ends with Ellen flying back to Amity after overcoming her fear of sharks. End of movie? Question mark? Like, okay, I know I said at the beginning that I still really like this movie, and I do. And I've said it in the past. There are bad movies that I like. This is visually appealing. All the shark attacks are fucking awesome. I love all the shark attacks. But the plot, the shark blowing up at the end, like that shit, it annoys me. But again, it just made me laugh. But the one thing I truly respected is that in this movie, at no point did Jake ever say, everything gonna be Irie, man. The minute there's a dude from the Bahamas, Jamaican, whatever, there's one person that says everything gonna be Irie. Everybody, every fucking movie, every TV show. And this one, I didn't hear it. So good on y'all.
Yeah, there's really a few things that I would fix here if I were tasked with rewriting Jaws the Revenge that don't include actually taking the shark's perspective and his wife Maggie into account.
In doing an animated series. I get it.
Yes. I'm Jaws. But what I would change is obviously I would remove all of the premonition shit. I would make some sort of plot line, because this was still happening in the 90s, and it was known in the 90s, about water temperatures just getting warmer overall, and the shark got confused. It's just a rando fucking shark that is confused and
100%.
aggressive because it's completely out of its feeding pattern and migration area. That by itself is good enough. And you can even have those scenes where Ellen's still like, it's attacking us. She's grieving. She's lost, like, it seems like recently she lost her husband. She just lost her baby kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's grieving. That grief has to go someplace. You can put it into this shark is fucking, it has to be connected.
Yeah.
And Michael's going, no, Mom, look at the science. Water temperatures are getting warmer. But then you still follow the same basic plot line, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to study it to figure out why it's here. Is this going to continue to happen? Shark attack still happens. All the same. Ellen, still convinced, still steals the boat after Thea gets attacked. She goes out, still the same. I'm Karen. I'm going to call your manager. All of that can stay the same without this ridiculous premise of, I am connected with this shark. The shark is connected with me. At all times, we know where each other is at, and we're hunting one another.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous, because this isn't the Predator.
Yes. No, so that idea I can totally get behind, and I would rather have that. I mean, there's a few different ideas you can go as to why there's a shark, great white in the Bahamas, and yada yada. Mm-hmm. And there's reasons to explain it away and whatever. This whole, it's now becoming like, I mean, the only worst storyline is that, like, the it's almost like Paranormal Activity, where, like, the shark is taken over by a demon, and now it's possessed, and now that's why it's in the Bahamas first, and it hates the family because it's attached to the family. Like,
right.
That's literally the only more ridiculous premise to this movie.
Right. Like, Michael Caine blesses the whole ocean and turns it into holy water, and the shark goes, "Roar!" The fucking black cloud flies out of its mouth. I think that's dope as fuck, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's our second movie idea.
Like, his nose bleeds like 11 because he's using all the power of the Lord to bless the entire ocean. I think that's amazing.
Yes, I like Jaws 5 is the Jaws exorcism.
The possession.
The possession. I like that. That's a great idea.
I will say this for this movie. Lorraine Gary brought it.
Yes.
Like, there's a scene on here right after she had lost her son. They're on the ferry to catch the plane back to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Where she picks up Thea.
And she's normal, and she's like, Thea, you're my friend, blah, blah, blah. And Thea's like, man, I like fucking Jawbreakers or something. And she fucking has to set her down, and she walks over to the side and just manically loses it. That was some, like,
that's a great scene.
Acting in that scene. She did phenomenal in that scene.
No,
and
absolutely.
Unfortunately, a lot of the actors were completely wasted on a bullshit premise where you could have made a really dope shark movie, either just the way I said it, or you go with Armando's even better idea of Jaws for the possession.
The possession.
Which is fucking brilliant.
So great. No, they had the opportunity to make this a very dark movie. And I think they missed the opportunity. And this, to me, this just screams like, okay, you had the first two movies, which really good. They were very dark. And then you had the 3D, which flopped. And then they were like, the studio execs just sat. I know this is what happened. They sat and they were like, listen, that 3D thing, that didn't work out like we wanted. Like, we got to get back to our roots. And our roots are these first two fucking movies. What do we got? And they went around, and some asshole intern was like, I got it. Jaws' kid is now attacking, and they're chasing the Brodies. Like, it has feelings, it knows them, it's connected to them, and it chases them. And they were like, booyah, that's the fucking premise of this goddamn movie. I know that's how this was fucking made. It reeks of that. Like, it almost looks like it was kind of like your idea. And then they went, no, it's got to be some sort of like family lineage kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Like, they had to go pitch this to a producer, the money man.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, a lot of the times these guys have to go in to a fucking just rich dude's fucking mansion and in his living room, pitch him a movie. So he's sitting there in his fucking boxers and gold chains, just being like, yeah, this is all pretty good, but you know what I like? Psychic shit. Throw some of that in there. Psychic shit's a big deal now. Almost guarantee you that's how that had to go. And they're just like, Jesus Christ, like, what are we gonna do? And like, I don't know, but he's gonna give us like fucking $3 million for this. I guess Ellen and the shark are linked.
If you don't believe that what Corey just said is true, go. It's on YouTube. I know it's on TikTok too. I've seen it on TikTok in a bunch of different parts. Go and look for, Kevin Smith does these, like, he's at the podium, takes questions and yada yada. Kevin Smith talks about the Superman movie he was set to direct. And he literally goes through the entire meeting with this dude and all the crazy shit that he wanted to put. It's one of the more fascinating videos as far as like behind the scenes Hollywood shit. And it's hilarious, but it's also incredibly infuriating that this is how movies get made.
Yeah, see, all you kids think Uncle Corey's just bullshitting you. I'm in every room, motherfucker. Every room. I'm like the Russians during the Cold War. I'm everywhere.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
I'll probably watch it again and laugh. I get a kick out of watching this movie.
It was a lot better. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Going into this and having not seen it in so long.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought it was going to be.
100%. Totally agree. So that's all I got. You got anything else for this one?
No, man, everything gonna be Irene.
Well, on that note, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1987's Jaws: The Revenge, Part 4 in the series of the franchise.
The Possession.
The Possession.
Premonition.